In step 1, we're going to install MongoDB. The version we're going to be installing is the MongoDB community version. We're going to be using Ruby to download our MongoDB installation file using the curl command. Once that's complete, we're going to use the homebrew doctor and update in order to complete the installation. By the way, if you want to uninstall it, just use brew uninstall MongoDB command. Once that installation is complete, we can set our database location directory. We're going to do sudo make directory with the -p flag, and we're going to use the DB location, and then we're going to set the chown so our MongoDB can access that database file. Now that we install MongoDB and we set our directory, we're ready to get started. Just use the brew services start MongoDB command to start the server, and we have our database running, and then in the new tab you can call Mongo to interact with our database. To start the MongoDB, just run the brew service stop Mongo community, or just do Command C to stop the service if it's running right now. For step 2, we're going to install the GUI and set the data. We're going to be using the MongoDB campus as our GUI, so go and download it and install it on your Mac. And then the next step is to connect. So hit the fill in the connection field individually and just leave the default. That will connect you to the local host on port 27017. Once you connected, we want to create our database. We're going to call our database my database, and for the collection name, for the first collection, we're going to use users and just hit create database. That will create you the database and the first collection. Once you hit the user, you can either create your user collection or you can import it. I'm going to import it using JSON. So once you create your collection, you can back it up using JSON, and then you can import it. For our last step, we're going to set the authentication. Go and to terminal and type in the Mongo admin to log in as admin, and then use the my database we created, and then we'll create a user. So do db.create user. We're going to call the user my user with a password 123456 and a role of read and write. And for sanity check, just do db.get users to see if that user was added. You can see that it used the default mechanism to decrypt that user information and the data, and it looks like it's all set. The next step is to go to the config file. So that's located on a Mac on a user local etc mangogod.conf, and just change the security to enable. If you don't have the security, then create it. Now that we have the security set, all we have to do is restart the MongoDB server. Once we restart that server, we have the database up and running. So if we're going to try and connect to it, for example, using our GUI, the MongoDB campus, and we just use the same information as before, we're going to get an error message that it requires authentication. So it looks like it works correctly. We cannot connect without authenticating the user. To authenticate, just use username and password, and just use what we set, which was my user with 123456, and the database we used, which was my database. And then we're able to connect and see our database successfully.